Yogeshwaraya Bhuta-bhuta-bhuteshwaraya Kala-kala-kaleshwaraya Shiva Shiva Sarveshwaraya Shambho Shambho Mahadevaya Yoga Yoga Yogeshwaraya Bhuta Bhuta Bhuteshwaraya Kala Kala Kaleshwaraya Shiva Shiva Sarveshwaraya Shambho Shambho Mahadevaya.
निर्गुण गलिया साकरी मरहेली वहाँ चढ़ो नहीं जा निर्गुण गलिया साकरी मरहेली वहाँ चढ़ो नहीं जा हाँ वहाँ चढ़े तो पिया मिले मरहेली जाए मरहेली चलो हमारा देश जातो लागा भजन वाला बाण हरि हेलियो चलो हमारा देश हाँ चलो गुराजी राधे हाँ चलो हमारा देश
Namaskaram. Namaskaram to all of you wherever you are. We are here right now at Bear Butte, Black Hills, Dakota State. The hill or the little mountain that you see behind me is Bear Butte. It is a formation that has happened because of coming up of magma or molten rock and soil, but not really erupting like a volcano. These Black Hills, this region is sacred for the Lakota nation, the Lakota tribe of people. We are in Lakota land right now. Well, the legend goes, I won't go into the detail of how a bear and a water monster like a dragon fought, and in the end, when the bear bled itself to death and the water monster spewed fire and whatever else, and that's how this mountain came up. This is just a bear consolidated in the form of a hill. This is a place where much significance is given to this place by the Native American tribes, particularly Lakota and Cheyenne. The Cheyenne tribes are supposed to have received all their wisdom at Bear Butte. Crazy Horse, one of the most well-known and quite a remarkable leader of the Lakotas, his father received his vision here at the Bear Butte. So we are here at Bear Butte. Well, temperatures have dropped to probably 8. The wind chill is around 5, 6. So if I freeze up halfway, pardon me. Last 24 hours have been extremely windy, over 50-mile winds and gusting at 60, 65. It's been a tough motorcycle ride. Well, but the virus dances on in the world, taking its toll. India is still over 1,000 deaths per day. United States, nearly 1,000. Brazil in the same range. The other countries, the fatalities have dropped, but the infections are still raging, and in many countries like UK and certain European countries, the second wave is coming back. So it is said every 250th person on the planet now is infected with the virus. And World Health Organization making predictions. Before the vaccine comes, the global toll, the death toll may be over 2 million. So, the number of infections in the month of September have increased significantly, particularly in India, and most of the cases are coming from 5 states. Nearly 55% is shared by the 5 states which are right now rampantly COVID virus infected. Well, this is a time where most people tend to lower their guard, but this is a time to really shore up personal behaviors, personal distance from people is quite simple. You don't be in the way of somebody's breath. If you happen to be close in outside atmospheres, you just have to at least turn away. Simple ways to avoid this. Because it's largely through the breath that it is happening, the aerosol in the air. Well, it can still get you, but if it's a concentrated amount of population in a room, but essentially, by simply maintaining a certain amount of personal discipline, we could avoid this, and we owe this to ourselves and to the world and to all the people around us that we are not the spreaders. Please make sure that happens. Having said that, there have been various aspects of how different species have come to an end. No, I'm not going to tell you a doomsday theory now, but I'm talking about how different species have come to an end. One important thing that came to my notice here is till about 5,600 years ago, till about 5,600 years ago, that is 3,600 BC, mammoths existed in this part of the world. A mammoth means a large elephant-like creature which is woolly and has very huge tusks. You've seen them, at least in pictures. They existed just 5,600 years ago. I'm talking about in India when there was Mahabharat happening, there was mammoth walking around here. In most of the parts, they became extinct for various other reasons, but at St. Paul's Island off Antarctica, they lived. And they became extinct, not due to lack of food or not due to some other climatic condition, but due to thirst. Because of rising oceans, the salt ingress or the marine ingress happened into the soil and there was no drinking water. So they died of thirst, such massive animals. Not hunger, not natural calamity, but just thirst. This must be a very good lesson for all of us. We've been talking about it for a long time. Constantly I'm talking about it, it looks like I'm saying the same thing, but it's not gotten across to people that in tropical countries, water or lack of water could become a major cause of decimation of populations if we do not take the necessary care. But there is also another flip side to this. Someone, a scientist called John Calhoun, created what is called as Universe 25. This is many years ago, almost 70 years ago. He called this the mice paradise, where substantial amount of food, water in abundance was given to 4 pairs of mice, a large space, disease-free, predation-free, that means no cats around. In some way, it is similar to modern cities. No predators around, no danger anywhere. Because there are no predators around, human beings are turning into predators themselves. There is no other natural causes, so we are creating various artificial causes of death. These 4 pairs of mice, they reproduced and their population grew steadily or rapidly. By 300 days or little more than 300 days, the behavior disparities between males of high and low status. I'm talking about mice society, I'm talking about rats. In their society, there are certain mice which are of high status and certain others which are of low status. I'm not talking about men, I'm talking about mice. So, slowly these disparities grew, became more pronounced, and those who are in the bottom pecking order were denied many things. Even the females refused to mate with them, and they became lonely and they started living alone by themselves. And the ones which are in the higher status of society, of the mice society, they started eating more, becoming fatter than they should, and started neglecting their duties of breeding, raising the young ones. And slowly, a younger population which was uncared for became unruly, not socially compatible, started becoming violent, violence without reason, and no exposure to normal, healthy relations among themselves. This created a social disruption. And by the time this reached some 920 days, the population base started diminishing, and then the two death phases occurred. One is the death of purpose, there was no spirit to live, and next is the actual death. And at the end of something like 1,000 days, the entire mice population died. Still food and water was abundant, no predators, everything was safe and good, but this is what happened. Well, this is like the Orwellian Animal Farm, leading to well-being, leading to death and destruction and disruption. In many ways, this is representative of modern societies. This is something we must understand. Unfortunately, most human beings are suffering well-being. When I say they're suffering well-being, this may sound a little insulting to many of you who are living in big cities and you think you're suffering immensely because your subway came 1 minute late, or your taxi comes 3 minutes late, or your internet connection is taking more than 20 seconds. Great sufferings, unbelievable amount of suffering that human beings are going through, because children are going through enormous suffering because Wi-Fi is slow. These are signs of self-destructive mode. Now, this virus has come dancing among us. This is also an indication of how we are living. We think we have a right to exploit every other life. Just not eating for sustenance and nourishment. Well, you have a right to enjoy what you eat, but to the absurd levels we are taking this food, I can't believe that among the young people, cooking shows and food shows are the most popular shows right now. They will never cook in their life, and if they cook, nobody can ever eat, I'm sure. But they are super popular because the fetish of enjoying or taking pleasure from our sustenance is getting to a kind of an unhealthy level. And this could be in many ways diminishing of the human spirit, because then people will naturally eat much more than they should eat. When we clearly know more than 35% of the world's population is not getting enough nourishment. This is amazing right now, the statistics show that over 35% of human population is malnourished and over 35% of human population is obese. This is a classic case of showing where human beings are, where is our consciousness, what has happened to us. Well, this is the first time in the history of humanity that there is food everywhere, even where it should not be. There is food everywhere, no predators, no dangers. Largely we have controlled natural calamities and things and created homes and dwellings where we are not affected by weather. Even in the US ashram, where it's a absolutely spectacular nature around us, we have to talk a lot to convince people that you should not have air conditioners in your home, you must keep the windows open, you must enjoy the nature, you must feel the cold, you must feel the heat, because a whole lot of people, unfortunately, are growing up like lab rats, exactly in controlled temperatures. In their car, in their home, in their office, it's all controlled temperature all the time. So, this lack of exposure to nature, this lack of wanting to experience life as it is rather than creating artificial situations all the time, which are free of every aspect of what is called as life. As I said here, winds are gusty right now and cold. All our team is sitting here shivering a bit, shriveled up a little bit because they're overworked but overworked and cold. Been on the road for last almost 8 days now. So, this overly protected situation of humanity in many ways could lead to decimation of large populations in the next century or so. This is not some doomsday prediction, it's a natural progression of life happening this way. So it is time that we address our lives little more consciously. This happened. You know, as I said, this is for the very first time that you can go to a store and buy everything you need for the next month or maybe 6 months, store it up in your house, not step out of your house for 6 months and just live there. There is water, there is electricity, there is everything that you need, there is food and everything that you need. You don't have to step out, you don't have to see a sunrise or a sunset or the open sky. This is the first time. So this happened. A young man passed his private PPL, it's called, private pilot's license he got. New pilot, I mean. A new pilot, you know, has certain characteristics. He flies because the airplane is designed to fly, not necessarily of his own skill sometimes. So, a new pilot, and Shankaran Pillai got a desire, he wants to fly. So this pilot said, I will take you. Well, out of some obligation, he got onto this little plane and it flew and then it landed. Well, landings are the most complicated part of flying, but it landed. Threw both the pilot and the passenger all over the plane, but it landed. So Shankaran Pillai, when he was getting off the plane, he said, "Thank you for these 2 rides." The young man asked, "What, 2 rides? You had only 1 ride?" He said, "No, I had 2 rides, my first and my last." This is for the very first time that humanity's food is so secure, and never before we were this organized. Please let this not become the last time, because it is important that the work of many generations before us, all that they did for us, does not go waste. All the effort that was put in the name of creating civilizations across the world to ensure that future generations live truly well. But our idea of wellness has gone bad. Being here in this Native American land, in this Lakota country right now, it is very eye-opening to see how they were fond of Mother Earth, how they structured their life around that, and how they lived in tune with nature, with absolute passion for everything around them and a certain sense of dispassion about their own life, about their own death. So, I think there is a lot that modern societies need to pick up from ancient societies, because there was a certain cohesiveness with life around them. Without that cohesiveness, everything seems to be problem. Well, this is happening today in a big way. Well, world bodies are going about predicting mental disorder pandemic, suicide pandemic. Just yesterday, a very well-known Japanese actress who was doing well, she just had I think she had a baby just about a year ago, with a reasonably happy marriage and a very successful career. She kills herself. You're hearing this all over. Only when somebody well-known dies, you hear it, but it's happening at a pace that it should not happen. Too many people are taking their own lives. Or too many people have lost sense of purpose. Too many people do not know why they should wake up in the morning. Too many people do not know why they should catch the first sun rays before it hits the blade of grass or a drop of dew on the land. Too many people have forgotten why they should catch the moonbeams before the parijata flowers catch it. They've just forgotten this. It's very important. All of you, you must make this effort. You must catch the sun rays before the lowly grass catches it. It's for you. You must catch the moonbeams before the flowers catch it. Then you will see your life will have a spirit and a fragrance that is… there is no substitute for it, so there is no word for it, what it is. Is there a word to describe what life is? There is no word for it, because it is the most magnificent and the greatest phenomena happening in the entire creation. This is what it is about. The whole process, the spiritual process means just this, that your life, a full-fledged life. So, we are here in the Lakota land, and our team here has been making some effort to pick up something Lakota. So because they could not pick up more complex chants and songs, they picked up a lullaby, not to put you to sleep, but to wake you up to this possibility that you are a full-fledged life, not become a lab rat which is working towards its own destruction. Here is a Lakota lullaby for you, sung by our teams here who are traveling with me. Yes.
Yo, Shante Vashte Hokshila Lage Ashtima Hane Peke Vashte We Yogi Shante Vashte Hokshila Lage Ashtima Hane Peke Vashte We Yogi Yahweh Hoeh Ahiye Yogi We Yogi Ahiye Yogi Yowe Yogi Ahiye Yogi We Yogi Ahiye Yogi Yowe Yogi Shante Vashte Hokshila Lage Ashtima Hane Peke Vashte We Yogi Shante Vashte Hokshila Lage Ashtima Hane Peke Vashte We Yogi We Yogi We Yogi
Well, my fingertips all going cold, so please, there any questions, please?
Experts say that human intuitions are essentially biochemical responses of our body. It is like an inherent and inbuilt biochemical algorithm. If that is so, then artificial intelligence can be powered to recreate human emotions. Are human intuitions truly biochemical algorithms, or are they something more profound? Ved Shinde, a final year student at Hisha Homeschool.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Well, does human intelligence have something to do with biochemical activity that's happening in our system? Absolutely. Well, when you know today that you being mentally balanced or imbalanced, you being stable or unstable, you being clear or unclear in your mind, has a chemical basis to it, or even you being happy or unhappy, loving or not loving, joyful or miserable, all has chemical basis. One way to understand this is, it is all a question of intelligence. Right now, as you sit here or wherever you sit, whether you make this experience of sitting here beautiful or ugly is a matter of intelligence, and it is also a matter of chemistry. They are not different. I've been saying this for some time, and there are a whole lot of textbook scientists who are thinking this is all madness. But now it's good that a schoolboy is asking this question. I'm glad he's out of the textbook. I've been saying, people ask me, Sadhguru, how is it you do so many things, variety of activity? I don't want to list them, it's for you to list them. If you list all of them, I'm doing more than that within myself. How do you do all this without freaking out, without losing your mind? So many times I said, I think through my whole body. You think with just this How much is your brain? 2 pounds, huh? 1 pounder. I don't know whether you have a 1 pounder or a 2 pounder. Whatever it is, you think through 1 or 2 pounds. I think through 74 kilograms. So, it is happening through the entire body. Every cell in the body has the capacity. It is not about thinking. It is completely wrong to understand intelligence as thought. Thought is just one small expression of intelligence. This is a folly that modern societies have made because the modern education system has made people believe that thought is the only form of intelligence. If thought is the only form of intelligence, you will naturally understand that accumulation of data, analyzing data and projecting this data according to your analysis is intelligence. Well, this is a process that any machine can do. This you're beginning to understand now, that even the most complex thought that you think is phenomenal, today your computer can do it without effort. Well, to start with, most children in school will find one subject, generally at least, not everybody, but generally most children growing up will find mathematics as the most difficult subject of all the subjects they're doing. But today, do you see a simple calculator can do more mathematics than your teacher can do? Your computer can do much more mathematics than any mathematician can do. So, obviously, what you thought is a very difficult intellectual process is being processed by a machine far more easily than you can imagine. Now, people argue, but mathematics is one thing, literature is a different thing, music is a different thing. It is not. It is just that mathematics is simply cold numbers, so it looks like it is not a very human subject. Lot of children thought when they're in school, even I thought, that algebra was not really a human thing, it must be an alien thing. So, I think most school children believe mathematics is not for human consumption. That's why the machines are doing it well. Well, I'm telling you, whether it's literature or music, which are considered more, outpouring of human heart, even this can be done by a machine. Well, we've still not built machines good enough to do that maybe, but you see a whole lot of music is becoming electronic. Musicians are just lip-syncing and letting the machines do the music, and everybody is consuming it. Well, for a very aesthetically trained ear, machine music right now may not be very palatable because still machines have not evolved to that place. But you will see in the next 25, 50 years' time, maybe, I don't know how long, but it will inevitably happen, you can't make out. Or probably it will be more perfect. Then you will see people will start looking for flaws as their source of enjoyment. Right now, see, there used to be hand-woven cloth like this, but then the machine-made cloth came. Without a single flaw, everything is same, 10,000 meters, not a single flaw. But now, once again, people are looking for flaws. They enjoy the flaw because I have a unique flaw on my cloth. So that's where we will go once again, looking for flaws, because it's very human to make mistakes. Oh, I have too many humans around me. A little bit of machine-like efficiency in certain aspects of life would be good. So, this about intuition. First thing to understand about intuition not a different level of intelligence. Intuition is just simply a different level of computing. That is, let us say, let me make it very simplistic for you, just for the sake of understanding. Right now, let's say you had a child or you had an infant who has grown up just inside a room, never seen outside. Suddenly you bring him out and show him this tree. You know what he's doing? He's gathering data, color, form, the way it moves, the way it is. He's just taking up data through his sense organs. Let him watch this tree for a few minutes. Let's say he's grown up after some time and you ask him to, let's say, depict a tree, most probably he will depict it nearly 90% right. Some small things he might have missed, as most people miss small things. Small things like life, they miss it. They get everything else. They know where the galaxies are. They know everything about the universe, but small things like life, like breath, like heartbeat, like the pulsations of life, they miss small things like this. But now the process of assimilating the tree in his mind is not logical. He is not saying the leaf is 5 centimeters by 7 centimeters, the color is this kind of green, which is a combination of that and that. No, there is no logical assimilation, it's intuitive, simply just like that. The picture comes to his mind. Because all the data is there, processed and jumps all the steps of 1, 2, 3, 4 and just gets there. So intuition is just that your computing is in such a way that you don't go through the logical process every time. This is definitely a more sensible way of using your intelligence. Because if every time you have to go through a logical process all the time, you will naturally freak with small aspects of life. Why do you think people are feeling more and more stressed by the day? One important thing is you must understand, do educated people feel more stressed or uneducated people more stressed? Unfortunately, there'll be no uneducated people left anymore. I'll be the only one probably after some time I don't know, once I'm gone, maybe this is the end of uneducated people. Because everybody is educated on something. The moment you're educated, you start thinking logically about every aspect of your life. You try to logically add up your life and it doesn't add up and you're stressful, simply for nothing. Nothing happened, sun also came up today. Hello? Nothing has gone wrong, sun came up, there is oxygen in the air and you've eaten your breakfast and you're stressed. For what? Because you stupid logic, you're trying to add up what is today and it's not adding up and you're miserable. So intuitive means your computing is skipping the logical steps and arriving at the answer, which is definitely a more sensible way to conduct your life. Is this just a biochemical algorithm? Well, I would say 100% yes. Well, all the spiritual teachers will pounce on me for this, all the spiritual… what to say… all those uh, people who think they are spiritual because they are illogical in their existence, they will all pounce on me. But I want them to understand this pouncing is also simply a biochemical algorithm. That's the kind of thing they have. That is, if what they think is right is threatened, they will try to bite your head off. Well, how many heads have gone simply because you disagreed with their philosophy? They said God is here, you said here and you're dead. Because their biochemical algorithm is designed like that. So, when we say biochemical algorithm, it is in a constant flux, you can set it the way you want. By genetics, by culture, by external influences, it's set one way. But if you are conscious, you can set it in another way. So is it just biochemical algorithms? When you say it is just, you are thinking that am I just a mechanical process? Well, there is a mechanism. The question is whether this mechanism is conducted consciously or not. Right now, there is an intellect, there is an intuitive dimension, and there are deeper levels of intelligence, which is the basis of the making of the creation itself, the very source of creation. That intelligence is also embedded within you. The question is only at what level of access are you? Say, everybody has an arm like this, all right? Now, can everybody use their arm the same way? No. Different people use it different ways. Somebody is a ball player, he uses it one way. Somebody is a writer, he uses it another way. Somebody is an artist, he uses it another way. Somebody is a yogi, he uses it another way because you have figured out certain aspects of life, somebody else has figured out another aspect of life. Depending upon how you apply yourself, accordingly, your biochemical algorithm is constantly changing. It is not a set process. Well, there are certain settings, because otherwise you won't have a starting place. Like I already said, genetics, cultural influences, samskriti, that is generations of learning that's happened within you. All these things put together, there is a certain algorithm, but it is not set, it is fluid. You can change it every moment of your life. So your intuition, what kind of intuition do you have? People are just doing guesswork all the time and thinking it's intuition. No. If you want to develop intuition, first thing is you must learn how to simply sit here, fully alert and not thinking about anything. Somebody was asking me, Sadhguru, when you're riding, what are you thinking about? Why the hell am I thinking about anything? I'm just riding. That's why I'm still alive because the kind of risks that I've taken on two wheels, I'm still alive because I don't think a damn thing. If you know how to simply sit here, alert but unthinking, oh, how is that possible? I'm asking, how is it possible for you to think when so much is happening out here? If you pay attention, you will not think. So the most important aspect of life is your attention, not your thoughts. This is what a child who saw the tree for the first time did. Attention. If your attention is on all the time, without any kind of judgments about what is this, what is that, simply attention, not thought, just attention, you will naturally become intuitive. But how your intuition works and what you see, what you do not see, Well, it's a big joke in the world, this intuition business. This happened. One day, Shankaran Pillai was driving a tractor with a massive amount of hay in the trailer. You know, you've seen these tractors in India with hay loaded 3-4 times, like it's almost like a 3-story building. He was driving this and he was a young man at that time. And because he did not handle it right, it just overturned. All the hay fell there and the tractor turned turtle. And then there was another farm in front of which this happened. That farmer came and picked up Shankaran Pillai, helped him out of the mess, and he said, come home. He said, no, my father may not like it, I won't come, I need to go. He said, no, I will help you, I'll bring some men and help you to turn the tractor back, we can go, you come. And you took him inside and he said, please have lunch. He said, no, if I sit here and have lunch, my father may not like it. He said, it doesn't matter, young man, don't be upset, you have lunch, you had a bad accident. So he had lunch. Then they talked for some time and he said, I need to go. My father may not like it that it's getting so late. He said, no, you have tea and go. No, I won't have tea, my father may not like it. He said, it doesn't matter, your father will be okay, don't worry, you have tea. So he had tea and then he said, I must go, my father will not like it. By the way, where is your father? So Shankaran Pillai said, he's under the hay. So, your intuition should work in time, it's very important. Most people have very intuitive backflashes. After things are over, they all have intuition because they have been calculating, let's say there are 10 steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, they're stuck somewhere, and after it happens, yeah, this is what it was. That intuition is no good because that's not going to help. That is only going to impair your logical thinking also. If you try to address the complexity of life through logical process, inevitably you will go crazy. Inevitably. You lose your mind. Most people never apply themselves to that extent. Their logic took 4 steps and it'll go somewhere. If they really apply themselves to every aspect of life logically, why this leaf is green and why this one is turning yellow, if you apply yourself logically endlessly to this, there are 1,000,000 steps to this. From morning to evening, what is happening as the sun traverses the sky? What is happening here as we sit here? There are millions of things happening. If you try to logically figure all this, you will inevitably go mad. But if your attention is on without thought process, you know it by experience because you absorbed it. This is the power of human attention. If you have the necessary attention, becoming conscious will naturally come to you. If you become conscious, you will set the biochemical algorithm of your system. You will influence that in a way that it works for you and works for the benefit of everybody around you. To what extent means, it's not just about intuition. If you know how to manage your biochemical system, you can influence all life around you. I have spoken to you many times about this, how other creatures respond to you, like a cobra or usually the venomous creatures are very sensitive to the biochemical functions that are happening within you. The fundamental life process that's happening within us, the way it is managed, this itself they're able to figure out. simply because of their attention. Because their survival is always in question, they are at a certain level of attention. This is one thing that's happened, that we were talking about the lab rats and the experiment. Because survival is not in question, survival is kind of guaranteed for modern societies, because of that, our attention levels have come down and our thought process has gone up like crazy. What we need is attention. Human attention can open up any door in the universe, but the attention should become free from judgmental process. That means, from the limited data that you've gathered, you should not go on judging everything around you. Because even if you think you know everything, the data that you have gathered is very, very limited. If you observe this tree for one whole year, the entire process of it dropping leaves and putting back new leaves and everything, still I'm telling you, you do not even know a small percentage of what the tree is. If you want to understand the biochemical algorithm of that tree, we do not know how long it will take for you to grasp that. So this is a much, much more complex mechanism than the tree. So definitely this, if you spend a lifetime paying attention to this, still what you know is very little. But if as you become more and more conscious, you determine the biochemical algorithms. That means you determine the nature of the experience. But now the question was, can we build machines like this? Yes, we can. As we can build machines which can do math for us, we can build machines which will write stories for us, we can build machines which will make music for us, we can build machines which are intuitive in nature. Already, your smartphones, they're advertising that this phone is more intuitive than the other phone. This means, before you know what you want, it is popping out and say what you want, because it's figured you out from the usage to some extent. As you can figure out human beings, other human beings, your phone is figuring out who you are. Maybe it knows more about you than you know about yourself. Not self-realized, but it's figured you out. So, this is a very valid question. This is a question that needs to be looked at more profoundly than just talking about intuition or emotion. It needs to be looked at as a life process, because life process is such, there is no separation between intelligence, intuition, thought, beat of the heart, function of the liver, function of the kidney, or what the spleen is doing, what the brain is doing. There is no differentiation. It is one seamless function. To grasp it that way is most important. Only then you will know life, only then you will experience life to its fullest. Only then you will find that you will be speechless about life because there is no word. What is there? Is there a word? Is there a vocabulary to describe a phenomena like this? There is no word. Words are coming because you're looking at small pieces and describing those small pieces and coming out with all kind of descriptions simply because we are seeing everything through a keyhole of human intellect. If you look at it through human intelligence, if you allow your intelligence to reflect, no, this word reflection, again people think I must sit and think about it. No, I am talking about if you are like a mirror and you reflect everything as it is, then you will see you have no word. There is no word to describe what is life, what is it about. There is no conclusion. When there is no word, there is no conclusion. When there is no conclusion, there is no depth. This is the way of liberation. I know you asked a simple question about whether machines can become like this or not. Machines can become everything that you are, can do everything that you can do, probably better than you. As you know, they are doing things better than you. Only thing is, they cannot become consciousness. Well, some people are saying we will build consciousness into a machine. That's not going to happen, because that's life. What you call as consciousness is the essence of life, that which cannot be described, for that which we don't have a word to say what it is, that which is that indescribable force which makes everything happen. That will not happen in a machine, 100%. Namaskaram. The word tantra has acquired a completely distorted meaning. Whatever human beings are doing, use the same things to elevate yourself. This is the way of the tantra. Tantrics are always worshippers of goddess. Whatever you want to know about your life, just like that, simply they will say it. If your imagination is powerful enough and consistent enough, any kind of form you want, you can actually create it, manifest it and make it walk. Do not try to separate yoga and tantra, because yoga is technology too, it is tantra. Shambhavi Mahamudra for sure is a sophisticated technology. The Tibetans, because they came from a culture which was steeped in occult, they added Dakinis and Dakinis and everybody to Buddha. Kailash is known as the Tantric mountain.